Most fitness marketing and services target the young and already fit. But how much sense does that make? Older people who are longevity focused have more disposable income than their younger peers, and they tend to be more disciplined, reliable, and crucially, motivated to commit. Today we sit down with one of the world's most respected authorities on how to best serve the unmet fitness and wellness needs of older adults. Colin Milner, the CEO of the International Council on Active Aging. This is the Independent Fitness Pro podcast, the people and things you need to know to launch, grow, and elevate your independent fitness career, brought to you by MyFitPod. In this series, we're taking a deep dive into the journey from being an employee to being an independent entrepreneur in the rapidly evolving world of fitness and wellness, what it means, what it takes, and how to make it happen.
My name's Colin Milner. I'm the CEO of the International Council on Active Aging, and I am in Vancouver, British Columbia. Beautiful, rainy Vancouver, British Columbia.
That is a very beautiful place. I love Vancouver. So can you describe the work that you do with the aging adult population and how you got into it?
So the International Council on Active Aging and also myself, they've been focused for the last 20 years on helping to change the way we age. And really what that means is to help people live better longer. And by doing so, to change the way people view the older population, moving from burden to contributors, and also to reshift ageism, once again, from burden to opportunity to people that are contributing day in, day out. And I got into that. And by the way, that sounds very simple. Changing the way we age, no big deal. But of course, it involves everything that we do to make that happen. And I got involved because of frustration. I used to be the VP of sales and marketing for a fitness manufacturer. And we called upon fitness clubs, retirement communities, all these kinds of facilities. Many had no interest in the older population as a customer back then. And those that were working with the older population really didn't have much of an idea in regards to the capabilities, the human potential of older adults, especially back then. So I launched International Council on Active Aging literally 2 weeks after 9/11 to try and address that issue. Of course, that was a challenging time to launch any business, but it's kind of funny how we are celebrating our 20th anniversary in the midst of a pandemic, and we launched right after a major catastrophe. So there's something there about being bookmarked on each end by issues.
It's got to be auspicious somehow. So
Absolutely.
So we've been hearing a lot lately that adults 50 and over are the future of the fitness industry. And so can you just confirm that for us and tell us how do we know that and why?
Well, I think the future is of the fitness industry is maybe a slight exaggeration, but I think they are the great potential for the fitness industry. I think the future of the fitness industry is yet to be told, and then we really have no idea. What we do know is that there is a significant amount of people over the age of 50 who are left behind in regards to many things, whether it's advertising or the fitness industry, the fitness business, personal training, whatever end you want to look at. And the sad part is that these individuals have a need, especially as you get older. Many of us have various chronic health issues or begin to lose our functional capabilities that could be reversed significantly by a simple fitness program. Yet the industry still goes after the younger population who, to be frank, are broke. If you look at the revenue, and the disposable income, most of the disposable income in the country, and I'm speaking about the US and Canada and the UK and most Western nations, are in the hands of people over the age of 50, 70% of the disposable income. And that number is supposed to rise to 75%. So literally 3 out of every 4 people that have disposable income to spend in your product are over the age of 50. Yet we keep targeting that 25%. To me, and of course, a small portion of that 25%. So to me, that's kind of, the definition of insanity. Keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. And maybe it's not so much a future of the fitness industry, it's the insanity of the fitness industry that will create a new future if we can change the way we think. And older adults are also being told today by science and over the last 20 years that you have a lot more capabilities and a lot more human potential. And what they're looking for now is ways to actually fulfill that. And of course, how to fulfill that is to be healthy and fit to be able to do all the things you want to do, where you want to do them, and who you want to do them with, which, by the way, 9 out of 10 people over the age of 50 believe that is a definition of healthy aging.
So what then are some of the barriers to attracting and serving this customer base, assuming one would like to target them?
Well, it starts with probably our own attitudes to what it means to be older, our attitudes about the older population, and also to understand actually the business opportunity. The lack of understanding sometimes also gets in our way. So I think to be frank, the biggest barrier is the same barrier across all of society, and that is ageism. I've been in front of a CEO from one of the largest fitness chains in the U.S. that said, "I'm never going to gray my clubs." Well, that's probably one of the most significant ageist comments that I have actually heard over my career. But that's part of the problem. Is things change, and the health and fitness industry is about helping people to get healthy and fit. It's not about helping younger people to get healthy or stay fit. It's about helping people. And for us to move forward, we have to get over the hurdle, the barrier of that it's just for the young, beautiful, and fit. And of course, almost any owner that you will speak with will say, no, we go after all people. After 40 years in the fitness industry, I can tell you that's a bunch of garbage. That most still target the younger population, and for unfounded reasons today compared to years ago.
Okay, so assuming that I'm a yoga teacher and I'm in my late 50s, and I have I've always taught people, the people that were attracted to my classes tended to be in their 40s and 50s since I was much younger. But now I've really decided that I do want to teach older people how to stay, the reason that I still do yoga, just to stay really functional and keep my body as healthy as it can be for as long as possible. What do I need to know? So beyond, now that I've made that commitment and I have gray hair, what else do I need? I mean, I know you don't need gray hair to serve this population. I'm just joking, but what else should I know about what might be different from what I've done for the past 20 years of teaching?
Well, so first off, you need to actually work in a facility that enables you to do that, or enables you to grow your business. As I used to run a club many, many years ago, and I remember the owner basically saying, "Listen, tell all those old people over there in the restaurant it's time to go. They keep sitting around all day long and talking. And I thought to myself, yes, but they're spending money with you. Don't you realize that every moment that they're in here, they're spending money with you and they're bringing in friends? So first is to find the right place to work from. It's like being a sculptor, but without the right stone. And then secondly, it's to realize that the skills that you need may change based on functional abilities. And that a lot of times in the general fitness centers, many of the classes are done at a relatively higher level, even the ones that we think are at a lower level compared to what a lower level functioning real life individual is a little bit higher than what some people are capable of. So figure out who your audience is going to be, what functional levels you are going to actually truly serve. There are 5 different functional levels, and of course, many levels in between, but there's the elite athlete, there's the fit individual, there's the independent individual, which is a vast sum of the population that tends to be missing in the clubs. There is the frail individual, and there's a dependent individual, and that is, probably may not be your audience unless you are more in a restorative or a therapy setting. So, looking at within that group, who am I actually going to make my services available for and become a student of that individual? Understand that, we, as you get older, we learn to compensate based on injuries, based on years of neglect, and that I might not be able to do the things you want me to be able to do the way you want me to be able to do them, but help me figure out how to compensate and then optimize my performance around that. As an example, if I have an ongoing rotator cuff injury, maybe things like downward dog are a little bit more difficult for me to do. So help me compensate. So I think the main thing is to really become a student of your customer. And by doing so, you will know what their challenges are, what their barriers are, what their attitudes are, good days, bad days, and you'll be able to better train them. Because at the end of the day, people are people, and they just simply want somebody to help them accomplish their goals. And if you can do that, you have value. If you can't, you don't.
And you say the largest segment of those five segments is that middle one, which is independent. So somebody that maybe isn't.
Yeah, that's the average person. That's the average person. That's for years and years and years. The fitness industry has called that the deconditioned market. And
but it's also the largest
you have
market.
your elite athlete. Oh, absolutely. That is the average person who probably isn't coming into a fitness center, who one instance could push them over to frailty or injury or what have you. And they need to build up their reserves better than what they have today. But what we offer hasn't been appealing to them. And I think that's the key, is what we offer in the environments that we offer it in might not be the most appealing for a 60-year-old or 65-year-old woman. I'll give you a quick example of that. If I walk into a club and all I see on the ground is nothing but black mats, and it's dark, and it's it's not bright, and it looks like more of a dungeon or more of a masculine environment, that might turn off, a 65, 70-year-old woman who's coming in, who is going, I would like somewhere that actually is bright, that actually is inviting. So, or you go into the super neon based clubs, that there are a bunch of them now, and they have been for years actually, but they're even more so now, where I go into a spinning room and it's all neon based. Well, maybe I have vision issues, and that that throws me completely off. So I think we try and make these environments so cool for the young, where older adults are looking for more of a home than a nightclub.
The MyFitPod Launch Accelerator course is your launchpad for success. In less than 3 weeks, you'll learn to market and sell your sessions with our expert help. You'll master social media with pro advice and a customizable posting kit. You'll publish your own pro website in minutes with our foolproof template. And you'll learn how to stream your services online, build your community of followers, and get personalized support from experts. Get ready to level up. Learn more at myfitpod.com. So a lot of our listeners, they do teach in facilities, so that's helpful to find a facility that facilitates, no pun intended, this teaching this audience. But also a lot of them teach online, live stream and on demand, including me. And how can we make that experience more inviting to this audience of average aging people that want to remain functional?
Well, I think it's very similar, and that is, understand who your audience is. So, as an example, that you want to take into consideration things like hearing if you're online. That your movements maybe are a little bit slower. Make sure that you really explain things clearly, and also that you have empathy as well. I think one of the things that I've seen that has been missing sometimes in some of the classes that I've gone to over the years is empathy. It's like, listen, I'm going to kick your ass here, and you like it or you don't. And not everybody's that way, by the way. That's a general statement. But I think one of the greatest gifts any instructor could have is empathy. And also realize that there was research that just came out not very long ago talking about we need to actually redo the way we inspire people to participate in physical activity or exercise, and stop talking about long-term goals and all of this kind of stuff, and focus on what is it that I can do. Now I'm speaking about older adults, what I can do today, because if I'm 75, I'm not looking 10, 15 years down the road. I'm looking at what you can do to help me improve my life today. So when you're speaking over your, whether it's Facebook, whether it's LinkedIn, whatever the environment is, also focus on current goals. So there's I think it's a German advertisement showing this older adult starting out, grabbing a kettlebell and taking it to his little garage and starting to exercise. And at the very end, it shows why he exercised. He was lifting up the kettlebell like this. And the reason he was doing it, so at Christmas, he could lift up his granddaughter and move her towards the tree to put the star at the top. So that was his movement. That was his goal. And that was his purpose. Find out what people want to truly accomplish, and don't just teach a class. Anyone can teach a class. Helping people to meet their functional goals is a big difference. It sounds the same, but it's not.
Great. So just to kind of piggyback on that question about live streaming, in targeting people through that, targeting older people through that format, technology can be a barrier. Having older people learn how to work on a particular platform, my experience has been takes more time. My question, but it's worth it. And I don't want to answer the question myself, but my experience has been once they've been guided through it, they're very good at remembering and repeating it, and they absorb better. But my question is, do you think that there is a desire to learn technology in this population, to learn the technology that would be necessary to be able to reach into their homes and teach them while they're in their homes?
People want to remain relevant. They want to remain connected. And if COVID-19 has shown us nothing else, it's the need to embrace technology to remain connected, whether it's with your loved ones, your friends, and so forth. So those who have been less apt at adapting to technology have had a crash course over this last couple of years. Many. My mother's, I did the same thing. I spent about 45 minutes showing her how to use and set up and maximize her experience through Skype, as an example. But there's also a misnomer about older adults and technology. Many older adults actually use technology. The question is, what for? And there was a research study that came out many years ago around ATMs in the banking industry. And they found that a lot of older people weren't using the ATMs. And they surveyed them and they asked why. Nobody had shown them how. So, to your point, a simple orientation can make a huge difference. Now, you are seeing in retirement communities, as an example, and senior living communities, things like tech hubs be positioned, a tech concierge. And you would think, wow, what the heck? But the reality is there's a lot of older people that are beginning to use more and more technologies. You look at the numbers and, they're a rapid growth area. You look at what they're using for their platforms, and Facebook is, ahead of them all. So, there's some people who haven't adopted yet, but that's only a matter of time. But there's a lot of people who have, and most people now have this.
An iPhone.
So an iPhone. So if you can actually teach them how to use a computer or how to understand the iPhone, it is better. It is to your benefit.
Okay, well, that's very good news for those of us that rely on technology to teach. So, can you recommend any resources to fitness pros that want to serve the aging adult population?
So, there's an endless list of resources depending what they're looking for. So, being self-serving for a second, I would certainly recommend the International Council in Active Aging. We're one of the rare groups globally that does nothing but focus on how to live better, longer, and how to support professionals in regards to that. If you're looking at certifications, there's a variety of different certifications out there now, whether it's from ACE or ACSM. Most groups now have some form of certification. Are they great certifications? Well, that's a different question. But many of them now have what I would say pretty good to good certifications. They're
certifications for teaching this population specifically.
Exactly, for instructing the older population. There's the Functional Aging Institute as an example. There's a lot of resources through the government sites in regards to general handouts and things like that you can pass on to your customers that will save you a lot of time creating those yourself. But if I was someone getting into the industry right now, my first thing would be I would look and say, okay, what do I need to understand the population? One is I need to create a foundation of understanding. So I would take some form of, course on, gerontology or something like. I'm not speaking about a 4-year course or anything like that. I'm talking about maybe a few night courses just to better understand the capabilities and challenges of older people. Then I would look at whether it's fitness courses, whether it's wellness courses, the National Wellness Institute as well. There's a variety of groups. Google will help you a lot along the way. Then I would also look at where can I find some information, and this one's harder, on how to market my products and services to the older population. ICAA actually has quite a bit of information in regards to that. First thing is you don't call them seniors. And
I remember you saying that in another interview. Are there any other pitfalls that you see commonly with people seeking to market to this population?
yeah, a lot of times we speak to people like they need to be fixed. Or we speak in a condescending manner, dairy or things like that. Instead of treating them as equals, for some reason, it's sometimes we treat them almost like kids, and that is quite condescending. If you look at the advertising world, only 95% of marketing dollars, just 95%, are spent on individuals below the age of 30. So we have 5% of the marketing dollars spent on people 50 plus, yet they own 70 to 75% of the disposable income. So the other thing is, if you have a facility or you have a practice, help make older adults visible in what you do so that people understand that you are embracing all populations. A lot of times that is kind of something that is left on the table. People don't actually put older adults in their marketing materials, in their brochures, in their online advertising. They still use a sexy man or woman, a lot of times without a shirt on, the chiseled chest and the abs. And hey, that's great. But the reality is most people, especially once you begin to get older, will not look like that. What we are interested in is being able to do the things we want to do, and fitness is an ends to that means, or means to that ends.
Wonderful. Thank you. So before we go, do you have any parting words of wisdom for fitness pros about this topic?
So I've been speaking about this topic for a long time. And in many ways, things have changed a lot. And in many ways, they haven't changed at all. The things that haven't changed are things like ageism. The things that have changed are that there are more older adults. There's more disposable income in the pockets of those older adults. There's also more health conditions amongst those older adults, which requires more solutions. And the word more describes this population. So if you are looking for more opportunity and you are looking for more satisfaction, I believe, in your role as, older adults tend to be very gracious in their compliments when you are helping them to live a better life. And this is a place to be. If you have no empathy, you want to kick ass, and you have, the desire to do the classes for yourself and not your customers, this probably isn't market for you. But otherwise than that, it is an incredible population to work with. I am now part of that population, and we are living longer, we are living better, and we're just looking for people to help us do that. And you were part of that solution and also part of that opportunity. So embrace it.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much for being here today, Colin. That's very inspiring.
Well, I appreciate you inviting me, James. Look forward to our next conversation.
The fitness world has experienced a revolutionary shift in the past year. Today's fitness professional must be competent and confident scheduling, selling, and delivering fitness experiences using technology, period. If you're one of the fit pros who's tried to transition to an independent career teaching online and in person, you know how overwhelming and stressful it can be. MyFitPod is an empowerment brand built to support independent fitness professionals like you in launching, growing, and elevating your business so you can create wealth. It's quick, easy, and free to become a pod pro at myfitpod.com. There you can build your customized website in minutes, then schedule, sell, and present your sessions through our state-of-the-art platform. So what are you waiting for? Get started now at myfitpod.com. The Independent Fitness Pro podcast is brought to you by MyFitPod. You can find more information about the topics covered in each episode, along with an episode transcript, at myfitpod.com. MyFitPod exists to launch, grow, and elevate the careers of independent fitness pros everywhere with the tools, support, and education they need for sustainable success. You can tell us what you think of this podcast by writing a review on Apple Podcasts.